You're listening to Shooting the Breeze with Byron A. Lloyd. Dig it. All right, let's shoot the breeze. This is Byron Lloyd. This is segment 2. Me and Officer Todd Gray. We're talking guns, Orlando, and like I said, he's got a special perspective because not only is he an officer of the law, but he's also a professional gun dealer and a professional gunsmith. So he sees both. He sees the sales side of it, and he also sees the criminal element side of it. So it's a very unique perspective. And we got to talking about it earlier about his feelings about some of these laws and how they need to enforce some of them. But I've written down some questions I want to ask because the way they handled this in Orlando seems like they hesitated too long, which, like I said, we don't know for sure. Me and him were just talking about this off air. We don't know for sure if the guy, once he got in there, started killing folks, or if he waited till he took hostages and then started killing folks, or if he done a little of both. But it seems like time to me, like I said, the whole waiting 3 hours till they got 100 cops there, and they already had a SWAT team there. That seemed like they waited way too long. And, people say they were making sure it wasn't a lone wolf attack. But I'm thinking after an hour or two, you pretty much assume it wasn't a lone wolf attack. And if you already had that Bearcat, that armored vehicle, for people don't know, a Bearcat's like what they call these MRAMs. They're these mine-proof armored vehicles, these big, like, 18-wheeler looking armored trucks you always see them with. But they had one of those in the SWAT team. You figured they would have tried earlier than 3 hours. Because if this guy, there had to be some type of communication breakdown, because if this guy they would have known he called 9/11 as pledges allegiance to ISIS, you would assume this guy's planning on dying. You know what I mean? That he's planning on martyring himself. So I don't know why you would want to wait 3 hours to try to negotiate with this dude, right? It don't seem like he was in a negotiation. And the fact that, he wanted to be a cop so bad, which is kind of weird, but go ahead.
Well, so early in the investigation right now, there are so many unanswered questions.
Right.
There is going to be, and now, of course, they're talking about now, why haven't they, there are still bodies that are moving. This is an investigation that the scene itself may take days.
Right. Exactly.
I don't expect to see a report that says, here's the timeline. I don't expect to see it for weeks.
Right.
But here it is. You have to make a decision as an officer. What is going to save lives and what could potentially cost lives? You have to be able to confirm certain things. Communication is key.
Right.
But sometimes when you have no communication, you have no intelligence on what's taking place. Once things get calmed down, hypothetically, I've heard that there was an exchange of gunfire at the beginning and then it stopped. And there was a pause.
That's what I heard too.
We don't know what actions were put into place, what was planned to try to go in to quietly take this guy out. We don't know what kind of structure this is.
Right.
We don't know who else was in there. There are a lot of things at play.
Yeah, a lot of variables. You're right there. And like I said,
you have to take that. This is going to be something that you can Monday morning quarterback, which is a horrible thing to do.
It is, but forever, probably.
For years, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, this is going to be a rough one.
Right, because like I said, I can understand. Like I said, we don't know what happened. We get this theoretical timeline that the media's built from reports from witnesses, but what people don't realize is most of the time eyewitness reports are not that accurate because people are so rattled because of adrenaline and fear that a lot of times eyewitness reports aren't that accurate at all. So they're trying to create this timeline. Like you said, well, I'm sure you said on the news, just like I have, that there was an unarmed cop who was security. He met him at the door. They exchanged some type of gunfire. He got past that guy. Then 2 more uniformed cops allegedly come up, and all 3 of them got into a gun battle with the guy. And then somehow they withdrew, because I ain't heard of any cops getting injured that I know of. They withdrew or whatever until backup got there. And then they staged for 3 hours because they said they got 100 police. And I don't know if that was we don't, like you said, we don't know what happened. It could have been they were going to go in and something to prevent them a couple of times, or you know what I mean? We don't know. And I know it's like you said, it's easy to Monday morning quarterback this thing to death, and it's so early in the it's so preliminary right now, the investigation, that we really don't know. But what just blows my mind is, and I know a lot of times when people talk about some type of national registry for firearms, they freak out thinking the government's going to come get their guns. But I believe that any guy, and even if he had a Muslim name or not, any guy who's been investigated by the FBI in the past 3 or 4 years twice for having some type of Muslim ties or claiming to should have some type of red flag when you do a background check saying, don't sell this dude a gun, he might have terrorist ties. Am I right? That's not too much to ask, is it?
You know, there again, that is something that someone needs to look at, because this is the type of thing we need to look at before John Q. citizen. Like I've always said, and I don't think you should have to go to the club with an AR-15. I don't think that's appropriate. I don't think you should have to go to the club with a gun. I don't think you should have to leave the house. I don't think you should have to have a gun in the house. But I also know in America today we have people that are going to commit crimes and going to hurt people.
Right.
So, first, I would say this. In an off-duty security, quote, situation, you have to you also need to know that we're taught to first, when something happens, just because an officer is sitting at McDonald's doesn't mean he's going to gun some guy down when he walks in with a gun.
Right.
You have to be able to figure out, first, does he see me? What are his intentions? Is he fixing to open fire on everybody? What's my background? Can I be an extremely good witness? Because if he doesn't see me, I can confront him after he leaves, and then if we got to exchange gunfire, I may save lives just because we're not shooting inside of a building full of people.
Right.
So when you put that into perspective in a nightclub, what are you going to do?
Right, that's true too. The people running and screaming.
I've got to do something. I'm going home to my family.
Right, and you can't fault any officer for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who's just want to go home at the end of the night.
But there again, are you in a position where you can shoot this person, because you have to be aware of what your background is.
Right. And I forgot about that. That's true. You got people running and screaming and falling. It's a dark nightclub. You got strobe lights. It's probably hard to make a shooter out if he's wearing dark clothes in that type of situation. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm wondering how much. It seems like there were a lot of people that didn't run out the doors.
Right. I didn't understand that either.
Why didn't people run out? And now I'm just speculating. This doesn't mean anything. I'm really curious as to how many fire exits were chained to keep people from getting in without paying. But that's something totally off base. But if that's not the case, why didn't everybody leave? Well, in a club, things are noisy. I've been in a club that was so noisy, you could have set a bomb off outside and never heard it.
Right, I have to.
So depending upon...
Or was it 100? That might have been something to make them hesitate. Because they did act like he had some type of explosive device, but it didn't work at first. You know what I mean? That's what I heard at first.
Yeah. Well, now, and two, remember, a hostage situation and an active shooter situation are different responses.
Right.
If you have a hostage taker, he usually has a demand. He's usually somebody that has something he wants.
Right.
Does he tell you he's going to hurt somebody? Yes. But time can be on your side.
Right, to wait him out. Right.
Forget waiting him out. What about time to figure out how we can get inside and get this guy? What about figuring out a way?
I didn't think about that. Right.
Use a truck to tear some doors down.
Right, or tear gas. Any option. No. Right.
Yeah.
All the options. Right.
Let's start planning. If you have an active shooter and he stays an active shooter, when you have an active shooter, you're responding. You're locating that active shooter and you're getting him to stop.
Right.
When you have a hostage taker.
Right, like if we stop, like if we went there and started shooting, he's an active shooter, you're looking to eliminate that problem. But at that point, if he stops and starts taking hostages, he's not killing folks, which and even though in a messed up situation like that, it's a good thing. So you want to try to take steps to prevent him from starting again. That's what you're basically saying, right?
Well,
Right.
He was a real good guy. He was a New York police detective. He was a friend of mine, and he was my instructor when I first became a hostage negotiator.
Right.
He was the one who finally got the Lufthansa hijacker to let everybody go and come out and give up. And in a hostage situation, your response is all about getting prepared and gathering information and lining out your options.
Right.
We don't talk about it a lot, but as a hostage negotiator, we want to resolve the situation. And, pretty much the public view is we want everybody to walk away from this.
Right.
It's much easier afterwards. Having a sniper team on a roof that can pop this guy, would you be justified? Yeah, but pretty soon if you shoot every one of them, let me tell you, people just go in and start shooting people.
Right.
Our actions cause responses. We tried to ban assault weapons in 1994, and now they're criminals' weapon of choice.
They are. Well, I never thought about that till you said that. That's true.
You publicize things. When you publicize your tactics, if a hostage negotiator is there to resolve the situation without any more bloodshed, to get wounded people out, to get people in, and to get a person out and get people to safety, get that suspect out.
Right, that's your main objective, is to get the hostages free with nobody getting hurt.
Yeah.
And if that takes saving the hostage taker, then so be it. Plus, that's also part of your objective. You don't want nobody to die. You want to resolve the problem as soon as possible. No loss of life.
Well, and we put this on a graph, okay? Innocent party, top of the list. We're going to do everything we can that there's no threat to them, okay?
Right.
Okay. That's inside or outside. Now, law enforcement is going to be in the line of fire. So right below them on the next step is law enforcement. These are how our goals kind of run.
Right.
And this sounds bad, but if a hostage taker decides that he wants to continue with the threat, let me tell you, his life is about 18 rungs down from these two.
Right.
I'm not trying to minimize this, but if you're going to make a choice between you and your son and a bad guy, you understand that I'm going to try to reassure you and your son after I deal with the bad guy that you're going to be okay.
Right, yeah.
Okay. So, but hostage negotiation, SWAT is simply this: special weapons and tactics.
Right.
And SWAT is not always fast.
Right, you got to get them together. They got a stage, get their gear on, get a plan. Yeah, I get what you're saying on that.
Careful, methodical, surgical. Think about that. When we had an emergency response, when we were basically a raid team, and this goes back years ago. When I first went to school, we realized that we were just pretty much a raid team, because all we did was show up and we run through the door and pinned everybody down, make sure everybody was in handcuffs so we could get the house cleared. But to be a SWAT team, you have to be able to put those same methods in play, but at the same time, you have to slow everything down to the point that you can take very well planned, carefully executed steps.
Right.
It's not all the time what you see, like on the TV movie SWAT.
Yeah, usually never is.
It goes into it.
Right.
Having been responsible for a team years ago, I can tell you that it's a burden. You train all the
time. Right. And when they call you, the shit's hit the fan, because they wouldn't be calling you unless the shit hit the fan. You know what I mean?
That's true.
And I try to explain this to people all the time. I'm not saying people, like I say, I'm not anti-gun. I'm just anti-people being dangerous with guns or being crazy with guns. But a lot of these guys, and a lot of them tend to be your yeehaw types, and say, if I'd have been there and had this HP, I'd have saved everybody's life. And they don't realize, unless you train for that situation, when adrenaline hits your ass, it's hard to hold that rifle or that pistol still. You know what I mean? Unless you train for it, it becomes second nature. Or that's That's why a police officer is so much different than just Joe Schmo who's got a gun on his hip. You know what I mean? Because you've been trained. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially
Well,
you overtrained, huh?
I talked to Travis years ago. And you know what he told me? He told me he wasn't outgunned. Okay?
Right.
And yeah, he was outgunned, but he considers himself not to be so much outgunned as he was out ammoed.
Right.
He had a weapon that had a small capacity of rounds, and the bad guy had more rounds.
Right.
And because he didn't have that training, because he didn't have the understanding that trained people do, he told me the most unnatural act he'd ever committed in his life was pointing a gun at somebody and pulling the trigger.
Right.
Because he just wanted the guy to stop. He didn't want to hurt him. And by the time he realized that he was going to have to, suddenly now you're to a position where you need more ammo. Well, it certainly didn't help him that night.
Right.
And he survived it. I'm not going to say no harm, no foul. He lived. Anybody who goes through that deals with things and will, for God knows how long.
Right. We'll never understand it.
Your life.
Right.
I understand that this moron is in custody for the rest of his life.
Right.
He won't leave again until he's in a bag.
Right.
But that still leaves, people to grieve. You can't.
Right. Somebody to pick up the pieces.
If somebody does you wrong.
Right.
Oh, my lovely wife, you are so wonderful, baby. If somebody does you wrong and you can confront them, you have somebody take your anger out on them.
Right.
When you have 100 murders in the first 5 months, basically 5 months, not even 5.5 months, and you've got nobody to say, well, we caught the guy and he's a bad guy. We're going to go put him to death.
Right.
There should, people want to blame things. It's an understandable response.
Right.
What we have done is we have gone back to our more baser instincts. We want to blame something where you can't put an explanation on things.
I agree with that to you. I agree with that to a point too, because it's our natural instinct to point fingers.
Solve the problem.
Right.
Now, I don't have that solution. If I did, I would run for president. If I had the solution for all the presidents, we'd be in great shape.
Dude, I'd vote you over Donald Trump 5
We'd be a
times.
nation of wonderful people.
Right. You're more qualified than Donald Trump. Go ahead.
Well, no, I don't know. I'm
Oh, I do. You're way more qualified.
But
Yeah.
thank you for the vote of confidence.
I'll give it to you. I promise you.
Here's what I think we need to do. I think we need to accept that in life there are a certain number of risks. I don't mean to permit it.
Right.
By accepting it, I think we need to say, hey, let's recognize this. We know we're going to, and we're going to accept that there's risk. Here's how we're going to accept it. I'm going to make sure I know enough about what I do to keep me safe and my family safe.
Right.
If you come to America, I don't think we should be negotiating with a country and paying them hundreds of millions of dollars.
Right. Who don't give a shit about us. Right.
Huh?
Right. That's one thing most liberals are about that I'm not. I'm not about giving a bunch of foreign aid to countries who are shitty allies, who are basically enemies. The only reason they call themselves allies is because we're giving them billions of dollars, or who fund or do anything to hurt Americans, who basically don't give a shit about us. I don't think we should give them billions of dollars. You know what I mean?
Well, we throw money at problems because we don't want to confront them. How about this?
True.
I saw a video of a police officer who went in the project. And I don't remember where it was, but he went in the projects because there were shots fired.
Right.
And he was jumped by about 60 people that live in the projects.
Right.
Let me tell you what. You got a right. You have certain rights.
Right.
But you have certain responsibilities. If you want to act like that and live in the projects, I think they need to put you out in the streets. think they need to put some teeth into some penalties that will make people start getting right.
Now, see, that's something I can agree with. I can agree with that. I believe in welfare and taking care of people, but all the people that really need it and the people who are defrauding the system need to get some real stiff penalties to where it sets an example to where other people don't want to defraud the system, and that person will never defraud the system again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I believe if you took these nonviolent drug offenders out of jail and made room for welfare cheats, I think you'd accomplish more in the society. You know what I mean? That's just me, though.
Well, there's been a very liberal view. They say this is a liberal thing, and I know the Democrats were supporting it, and the Republicans were questioning how will you pay for it.
Right.
If you graduate, now Tennessee's lottery is doing this right now, and I don't know exactly how it's working, but if you graduate high school through the Tennessee lottery program, they'll pay your first 2 years. They'll pay for your associate's degree.
Right. See, Arkansas do that too. Well, Arkansas only gives you $2,500. That's what Arkansas will do for you.
You know what? I think we should do more than that. I think we should draw the line and say, look, you're going to go to school, you're going to get an education. When you get out, and fortunately, we still have College Ridge.
Right.
Not everybody's meant to go to college. Some people are
welders.
Some people
are welders or nurses.
Some people are brain surgeons. And some people are not college people.
They're artists in other ways. Right.
$25 an hour to be a certified welder, you're dead come right.
Right.
You know what? You got your high school education. What we're going to do is we're going to put you in a program for you to learn a trade. We're going to get you through that. We're going to find you a job. Let's get our citizens here in Forest City skilled,
right,
where they're an asset to somebody that wants to bring a business in. Because right now
our job market's shit because nobody has any skills. It's unless you do menial labor that anybody can do. No companies want to come into any place where there's not a skilled labor force who can perform what they need to people to perform. You know what I mean? And we don't have that. And I totally agree with you on that.
We've paid for every advance. We've paid for Reaganomics. My God. When we came out of the recession and during Reagan's administration, there were tough times.
Yeah.
But at the end of Reagan's administration,
he had to go it over. He had to raise taxes. People forget that.
And at some point we might have to think about what we need to do.
Right.
But if you take and you've got 49% of America drawing some kind of check off the government or drawing some kind of assistance, and you got 51% working. If we can train, what happens if we take half of those people and then get them into a career?
Right.
And turn them into tax-paying, working, self-sufficient people? Didn't we advance?
We did.
I understand somebody's got to pay for it. But we're on the precipice here.
Right.
And that's a very liberal view.
That is a liberal view. That shocked me to hear you say that, but that's the truth. People don't realize you're paying that money out anyway. Instead of paying that money out just for people to blow or whatever, how about put it towards something like an education, something that will progress us as a whole. You know what I mean? And you won't have to worry about that guy needing that or that person needing that assistance because we give them that assistance at one time and they were able to assist themselves from then on out. You know what I mean? I'm totally with you on that.
We're causing ourselves problems. We're costing our country jobs.
Right.
When a company has to provide, we're local. Everybody knows somebody that works at Walmart. Did you know that Walmart now, as long as you don't work over 29 hours, if you work 28 hours, they don't have to provide you with certain health insurance and benefits.
No, they don't.
Under the Affordable Care Act.
And people don't realize this right here. Well, it was like that before, but people also don't realize this here. That until Walmart's just started giving raises lately, that 80% of their workforce was on food stamps or some type of government assistance, and they were double done this because of, on average, Walmart supercenters would cost us $900,000 a year, every supercenter, because everybody's on federal assistance because they're not getting paid shit. You know what I mean? Or the hours they need to get.
Well, if
Right.
I have no problem. I have no problem with saying minimum wage should be increased. But my question to you is this: is a person working at, and we always talk about McDonald's, and I don't mean this just like I want to bring
right.
a lot of people at the McDonald's. Should they be paid more than a soldier who's fighting for our country overseas
No.
and getting shot at every day?
No.
Should they be paid more than a police officer?
No.
Or a firefighter?
No.
You know. Now, do you know that in some places, in a lot of places, especially in Arkansas now, you know, in a lot of places in Arkansas, you got officers that start out making $8 an hour.
What's that say again, Todd? I'm sorry to hear you.
Do you know there are officers in Arkansas making $8 an hour?
I know, dude. That's despicable. I think teachers and police officers are the most underpaid folks there are, dude. And two of the most honorable professions there is. And it's incredible. Like you said, man, but we got a lot of problems in which we only got like a minute left, Todd. But me and you got to do another show next week or something, because I got some more questions to ask you, man. You always got helpful insight. But before I get out of here,
I'm always there.
I know you are, brother, and I appreciate it. Before we get out of here, in just in case people are listening, because we only got a minute and 50 seconds left, if people would find themselves in that situation where they're in some type of business, a store, or a club, and there's an active shooter, somebody comes in shooting, what would your advice be as a police officer? What would you tell them to do?
You know, get out of there. Dial 911. Get to a safe location. And when you dial 911, get as much information. I know you'd be upset, but get as much information as possible to those dispatchers.
Right.
They're going to be the lifeline for anybody that's left behind.
Right.
The more information we have, the better we can respond.
Right. And like I said, once we got a minute left, so I'm going to go ahead and get off here. But yeah, that's what I wanted to know, just to know that I was always told that you're supposed to, you know, the feds put out this little memorandum on shooting about get a weapon and fight back if you have no choice. But I was always thought that it makes sense to run until you get somewhere safe, hide if you have no other choice, and then as a last resort, maybe try to attack, or you know what I mean. If like you were hiding in the closet, dude opens the closet door, then at that point do what you got to do. You know what I mean? But I just want to make sure that you would say it was run too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You need to try to get away. If I have no other option, I'm going to be that little frog in that bird's mouth. He might have me in his mouth, but my hands are going to be around his neck.
That's right. That's right. Well, look here, man. We're almost out of time, but dude, I'm glad you came on, man. I'm glad we got to talk about it. We got to talk about guns. Like I said, get a different perspective. You being a gunsmith and a cop, and maybe next week or sometime next week we can do another show, because I'm sure we'll find out more things about Orlando. And this is Shooting the Breeze with your man Byron Lloyd. This was Officer Todd Gray, and we're out of here.